You're listening to the Electronic Media Collective Podcast Network. Yeah, it's a mouthful. For more great shows like the one you're about to enjoy, visit electronicmediacollective.com. And now, our feature presentation.
Hey, you guys, it's Rob Paulson, voice of your childhood. Who knew that a middle-aged white guy was the voice of your childhood? Well, anyway, I'm listening to the Grawlix podcast. You know why? Because I can. And so should you. Bye.
This is Randy. In the future, we've already had the Emoji Movie. We'll have more movies based on grammatical things. Just wait for it.
In the future, all blankets will come with windows.
This is Jesse, and in the future, coming soon, Apostrophe Catastrophe, a new coming-of-age film from John Hughes about the rise, fall, and slow redemption of Dana, whose only dream was to buy houses for cash. It highlights her very real struggle with apostrophe addiction. But in Shermer, Illinois, there's no problem so big that it can't be solved without a good heart-to-heart or worst-case scenario, Saturday school. All the apostrophes, all the time.
I'm so glad you resurrected that. And also, it's very funny because that's totally a future prediction joke based on a very inside joke.
Oh, yeah. You almost got to put up a picture of that sign, but without the, phone numbers and websites. So, Melanie, there was a sign that was just like a poster board that was handwritten and just stapled to the light pole, like a block over from one of the schools that I worked at. Uh-huh. And I drove past it it was up at least a week because I was going to take a picture of it and I missed out on that. But then I came back the next week. I'm like, I'm going to picture this. I thought it was ridiculous before. Then I paid closer attention. She put literally an apostrophe in every place that she could, and none of them were appropriate.
That's great.
Yeah, in ways that just didn't even make sense.
Like buys had an apostrophe S.
Mm-hmm.
Houses had an apostrophe S.
There's this friend of mine on Facebook who wish I'll rename nameless. She puts commas everywhere except where commas are supposed to be. I'm like, is she like channeling Shatner? I don't understand what's happening here.
It's a Shatner walking situation. It's the walking comma.
I can't read her post anymore. I can't because I'm like, what is she doing? Anyway.
I think I'm guilty of comma abuse.
Not like this.
Good.
I'm an ellipses guy. I like the ... for everything.
Oh yeah, me too.
Yeah. I should use a comma. I use an ellipse instead.
I like it because it's like reading old Swampy, not super old Swampy, but Alan Moore's period Swampy, where it breaks up this pattern of speech. So I use it to get the way if it comes across in my head, it should be like, blah blah blah. I'll use it like that.
It makes sense to me because for me, a comma is like a breath, and a ... is like an actual pause.
Yeah, and that's how I use it. But people have called me the carpet on it. Justly so, because I overuse the heck out of it. But yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I got to limit myself to one per paragraph.
But I have never overused apostrophes.
No, I don't think I do.
I'm sure I've absent-mindedly thrown one in where it doesn't belong. But this was insane.
I feel like if you get it wrong with it's IT apostrophe S, I get that one because that one's tricky. You only use the apostrophe if it's the compound word. But
or you know what I just do?
Yeah.
I don't use them at all.
I don't use them at all. Yeah, just
everything's just pluralized. That's all.
You knew what I meant.
No one owns anything.
Possessive.
Welcome to the Grawlix podcast, episode number 55. I think
4. I think it's 4.
54. I've been corrected.
Yeah. Woo!
Now I'm gonna look it up.
No, I think you're right. I'm jumping ahead of myself. Episode number 357.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's 54.
We're gonna reboot for 20 episodes, and then we're gonna go back to legacy numbering.
Okay.
This episode, we're gonna be talking about. In fact, this whole month we're gonna be talking about some very kind of Defenders-y stuff, but specifically this episode we're going to be talking about the Defenders.
Yeah,
we're right on the cutting edge of that discussion, I'm sure.
I'm sure we are.
Yeah,
you know, that one that's been out for at least a month, and by the time you get this, it'll have been out for 2 months or more.
I must be out of the loop because I'm pretty sure it came out and I didn't even know for like 2 weeks.
I did not know at all until.
And maybe it's because I don't have regular access to Netflix now.
It's because we don't TV.
Normally I know all this stuff though.
Yeah.
I think I've just been unplugged, kind of, I guess.
I blame Danny Rand.
I blame your car.
Oh yeah, that's a good one too. Yeah, that's true. That one.
I think your car had a big part to play in this.
And guess what? It's still just sitting there.
You know who doesn't drive a car? Any of the Defenders.
You're right.
Yeah, they don't need to.
They use transit. They use public transit. Those guys.
They live in New York, first of all, so it's unrealistic to drive a car. And they can all hardcore parkour or jump really far. So why do they need, a car?
That's a real good point.
Yeah. But the only one that you ever see, like in a car that he probably owns, is that Danny.
And he doesn't drive it ever.
No.
He's too rich to drive.
No.
He probably doesn't have a license.
You know what? You're right. He grew up in Kunlun. He's probably never driven.
Yeah, or besides like a chariot or whatever the heck it is that they drive in places like that.
He thinks it's normal. He thinks it's normal for people to drive him around and just, like buy ridiculous amounts of Chinese food.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Okay, so we're going to talk about the Marvel Defenders series. Do we have any in-house news beforehand?
I don't have anything in my notes right now.
I actually don't have anything. Yeah, I got nothing, man. That's amazing. Happy October.
Happy October.
I guess I kind of took part in this interesting thing, but no, let's not. Every time I talk about music, it goes on too long, and it's like, that's not why people are here. So I did this Reddit thing that was kind of interesting and also took up a lot of my time that I didn't have, but...
Put a link in the bottom. If you don't want to talk about it, just say, hey, check it out.
Okay. Yeah, basically, it's a subreddit. I won't even talk. I'll just go real quick. It's a subreddit called Game of Bands, and basically every 2 weeks they have like a kind of a competition thing. You have 2 weeks to make a song, but the whole setup is they pick a theme, and then you comment with what you can contribute, either music, lyrics, or vocals, or any of those, and then their system randomly like selects, picks 3 random people, one for music, one for vocals, one for lyrics, and groups you together, and then you have 2 weeks to make a song with these people. And they were doing, the theme was 80s sci-fi. So one of my electronic musicians group friends turned me on to it. And I was like, oh, yeah, 80s sci-fi. I've got to do that. Like, of course.
Mm-hmm.
So today was, as of recording, was the due date to have it in. And I put it in last night. So, yeah, I'll include a link. Maybe we'll win. Who knows?
I'll keep my fingers crossed for you, baby.
It's on Reddit. Like, I don't know who can all vote for it, but if it seems like it's just anybody can vote for songs once they're posted.
Yeah, it's Reddit. I think everybody can do anything on Reddit.
Yeah, I know, but they have a specific system that I'm not sure how it works.
Oh.
But that's it. It came out pretty interesting. I guess it's Grawlix appropriate. It's a sci-fi story. The lyricist did kind of an interesting thing where he made it, like, actually wrote it kind of like it's a little narrative. There's a little plot to it, so it's kind of cool.
Yeah, it's cool.
But about like space, I don't know, scoundrels, I guess, basically.
Space scoundrels. That's awesome.
Yeah.
I want to be a space scoundrel.
I want that to be the name of the band.
Yeah.
Right? Yeah.
Space scoundrels.
The only thing cooler would be space pirates, and that's just because I have a thing for space pirates.
You have a thing for space pirates?
I do indeed.
Should I get like an eye patch and a fishbowl and put it over my head and be like, "Arr, in space"?
No, I'm thinking like I kind of think of Doctor Who as a space pirate.
Oh, Doctor Who's a space pirate?
Hell yeah, he is.
Yeah.
Yeah, that makes sense. I mean,
he goes around and it's like, there's a warning thing going off on this ship. Let's go check it out and see what they've got on the ship.
That's true.
And when everybody's gone because the aliens ate them, what do they do with all that stuff?
Well, he doesn't. Well, maybe he does, and we just don't see it.
You pulled a Hartnold there.
Got a lot of stuff up on that TARDIS. Where did it all come from?
That's a good point. Maybe he does scavenge. She just kind of keeps that on the DL.
Right. He helps people and takes some stuff along the way,
Hey, costs money to help people.
It does.
And how am I going to get clothes from regenerations?
Exactly.
Yep.
I gotta have a wardrobe room. What if those clothes are just like all the people that have died in adventures that we haven't seen? He's just like, oh, what am I gonna do with all this clothing?
I mean, he does occasionally
just
take
put
their
it in a room.
faces.
He has a lot of dresses. He's hasn't until recently regenerated into a woman. So like, he's got an awful lot of dresses.
Those are old companion dresses.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
Companions usually don't always fare well.
Mm-mm.
No. Yeah.
All right. Well, okay. Yeah. Awesome. We're to the point. Grawlix is nothing but punctual and to the point.
Yeah, that's what we are. That's what we're known for. That's our tagline, right?
Yeah.
That would be the most
We don't really
boring
have a tagline, do we? Like, our tagline is first and third Monday of the month.
Yeah, that is our tagline.
Our tagline should be something about Grawlix because nobody knows what it is.
No, actually, I'm glad you mentioned that. This is something I was going to talk about pre-show because it seems very much pre-show talk, but I'll do it now. So I think at least for like iTunes listings and stuff, it might become the Grawlix podcast a comic book show or something like that.
Oh yeah,
you gotta have some fun. Be like the best, and then Grawlix word comic book show ever.
That's good, but that's long. I just wanted to keep it short. Also, should it still be the?
Yes.
Didn't we come up with the because there is a Grawlix podcast, but
that's
it's,
what I thought.
Yeah, so we went with the Grawlix podcast.
I don't know that there's a Grawlix podcast, but there's like a Grawlix
comedy group.
Right.
So
and
we
I think
specified
they have,
this is.
Yeah.
They
Maybe they don't have a podcast, but I thought maybe they did. I don't know.
They probably have like a webisode thing.
That could be.
Ideally, it would be like a comic book podcast, but I don't want to do the Grawlix podcast a comic book podcast. It's redundant.
Right.
I could do the Grawlix podcast like dash comic books and
was it Two-Headed Nerd goes with the Two-Headed Nerd comic cast, I think is what they call it. Yeah, comic cast with Joe and Matt.
Yeah, I really wish I'd have thought we'd have thought to put comic book in the title of the show. Right. You're right. Nobody knows what a Grawlix is.
Initially our we were kind of like all over the place. Like, we're basically a pop culture show, but with comic book leanings, and that's just not true. We're basically a comic book show that goes off the rails with pop culture stuff.
That's true. And really, it's mainly like Doctor Who, but that's still so close.
And movies. We've done a lot of movie episodes.
That's true.
I mean, and we've done Bites episodes that were entirely about Westworld, that kind of thing. So.
Oh, that's true.
So Westworld rocks.
Yeah. Is it 2018
yes,
yet?
It is.
I think that's when it's coming back.
I think it should be.
Yeah.
I think that's when Apostrophe Catastrophe comes out.
Yeah. I'm waiting for that.
Dana! Why are you so possessive, Dana? So Defenders, huh? No, were we still?
No, we can move on. Yeah, so listen, subscribers, if you notice a slight change in the title, I mean, it's still the Grawlix podcast. Anything after like the Grawla probably gets cut off anyway, so.
Yeah.
The Grawlix podcast, titles get cut short sometimes. I mean, it's still there. It's just not always displayed depending on like your.
They use an ellipse. Oh. They overuse ellipses like I do.
Yeah. It's the Grawlix ...
So yeah, how do we get into this? What, Netflix is a thing. Okay, people have it. They use it to watch their favorite shows.
Be like, if you don't know what Netflix is by now,
they're that company that sends you DVDs in the mail.
Yes, they do. Yeah.
They do still do that. That's so crazy.
Yeah, my mom still does that.
That's insane.
Yeah, my mom too. I think the problem is, and I think this is was my mom's situation with it for a long time, is sometimes you get a couple movies and you forget about them. So you're literally paying to hold on to these movies for like months at a time.
Right, which is part of the reason that people stopped doing, DVDs.
Well, yeah, and streaming became so accessible, and
unless you're out in the middle of the country.
This is true.
Which is where my mom is, so.
That's a good point.
that's where Randy's mom is, but didn't they like force her to like upgrade to more technology because they're like, you're too far in the past. We need you to come into the future with us.
Yeah, and my mom and Jesse's mom are not that far apart, but it's probably far enough they have different providers still. And yeah, they did. My mom was literally the last, like her house was the last still on dial-up when they're like,
oh yeah,
we're just going to upgrade you for free because no one else has dial-up anymore.
It's more expensive for us to support you
than
to let you have the new stuff.
She's literally the last dial-up holdout. No, I like dial-up.
My mom just started using her telephone for her internet, so that was it. She uses the tether or whatever.
Oh, okay.
Oh,
uses her data, I think.
Ooh,
that makes sense. Yeah, I mean, depending what you do, that could suck. That could get real pricey. But
I was thinking about buying one of those little. They look like little USB things that you can buy from different phone.
It's basically like the mobile net portion of a phone that you plug into your computer. Yeah. I mean, it sucks. It's crazy. It's 2017, but there's some places where that's the only option, really. The only plausible option. I kind of thought about it for here because I was like, ooh, those speeds don't sound great and it's super expensive. But actually, technically, my speeds are slower here than in Omaha, but it kind of runs a lot better. Streaming seems to work fairly well.
Probably because you're not fighting as many people to
good point.
Get on the bandwidth or whatever.
That's a real good point.
Yeah.
So the Defenders, I'm sure you know if you're listening to this show. If you don't, it's basically the Avengers team up of the Netflix Marvel Avengers style team up group of Daredevil, Jessica Jones, Luke Cage, and Iron Fist, everybody's favorite.
Yeah. Netflix standing.
They're like they're like, what do you call it? I'm not a sports person, but like it's second stringer thing.
Second stringer or whatever.
Oh yeah. Second string Avengers.
Yeah.
Yeah.
They've been calling them the street level Avengers or whatever.
That makes sense too.
Yeah. I guess the best way to we've talked about, I think, all the Marvel Netflix shows at one point in time. And me and Jesse have watched all of them. Melanie's watched all, but I don't think you finished Iron Fist.
I did not. I know I didn't.
Yeah, we got...
Because I got close to the end.
Oh, yeah.
But
did you know who that guy Colleen Wing was fighting against? Like, did you know him at all?
Yeah. I've seen him before. That was like her mentor guy. He's the one who showed Danny how to heal people or told him that he could.
Oh, okay. So you got further into that than I remember.
Yeah, I only hadn't seen the last like 2 or 3 episodes.
Okay.
But I don't think I needed to be able to follow along.
No, and actually I was kind of saying this, like the stuff that they set up at the end of Iron Fist with Davos and all that. Davros. That didn't even come into play here. So
am I just real quick? I think that's like the most common bad guy name. I think I've heard it in like a billion different things. It's like made to be a bad guy name. So don't name your kid that because he'll be a bad guy.
Put a D and a V in there.
Oh yeah.
It's like naming your kid Damien. It's just never been a good idea.
Just asking it for it. Yep.
You hear that? Threw some shade at Robin. Don't ever name a kid Robin or Damien.
Well, it's all right. You could have a superheroic name like Tim.
Yeah.
like the sorcerer Tim the enchanter. Oh, it's a bunny.
Oh man.
Yep. Monty Python. Some call me Tim.
I guess, were you guys excited about the Defenders at all?
No.
I was not surprised by that. How about you, Jesse?
I was until I watched Iron Fist.
Yeah, I gotta be honest. Like,
Iron Fist really killed it. Yeah,
it really did. Like, they had built up so much momentum, and it just really kind of drug it down.
You know, I didn't even watch the end, and I feel that way. But I think in the beginning we were like, I don't know why everybody's so down on it. And by the end, I didn't get to the end, and I was still like, no, I kind of see why everybody's so down on it because he's a moron.
Yeah.
It, and I don't think it's terrible TV. I think there's far worse, but man, like you set a bar at a certain level and then...
I think it's a bad idea to make one of your superheroes in a superhero gang like a 12-year-old in an adult's body. And that's basically what they did.
And that's the most bizarre piece of the writing, I think, is like, come on, that's not how growing up works.
Yeah.
Even if you're not in New York, you become an adult male in Kunlun.
Yeah.
No, it's a good point.
Totally have him behave as if he were a child and has so stupid.
Yeah.
It's ridiculous.
Yeah, they lean into that trait way hard. Mm-hmm. Like they really, they even call it out. Like they have characters call it out.
Yeah.
But
I mean, that's probably my favorite. I mean, like that becomes the comedic relief of this Defenders team, is basically like Marvel poking fun at their own lack of success with Iron Fist. Like everybody on the Defenders team kind of tells him how crappy he is.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, and Stick does too, but Stick does that to everybody. So,
yeah. Okay, so there's a scene where they're all sitting around in the it's a Chinese food place, right?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
And the thing that pushes Danny too far, and it's really quick, and it's, on the one hand, it's like, yeah, that's totally within his character, but it also highlights what's wrong with his character. Is Daredevil says, you're acting like a child. And that's the thing that makes Danny jump up and go, what? Like, about to throw down. And it's the most immature, like, it is so childish. And it's like, yeah, too much. Just a little too much on that.
Yeah. This lady's trying to get me to break this magical wall. And so I'm going to start pulling up my magical fist and punching all walls. Really?
Right,
come on.
Yeah.
God, that was really disappointing to me.
When his great idea, like his great grown-up idea, I've got to fight this war a different way, was to go get gussied up and look like a businessman, and then go in and like challenge them all to a fight.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, exactly.
I was on board with, like, it was like, oh man, yeah, he's playing this smart, he's playing this straight, and then he gets there, he's like, I'm gonna punch you all.
Yeah, he just barges in and threatens them, and it's like, that's not how the world of business works.
Hey, you boardroom, time to fight.
I mean, of course, fortunately, this is a comic book universe, and they were down for that. But
yeah.
I think it's great that their entire like team of executive type peoples were all just like, all right, let me get my nunchucks out, you know?
They essentially, like, all those people were essentially just, they're thugs.
Exactly.
They're goons in business suits.
I know. That was too interesting.
Well,
but...
okay. Yeah. So let's talk about the hand, shall we? Because that's kind of the crux of this whole new, like, why are they getting together in the first place? Because they kind of start out with little vignettes of just the heroes, like, with doing their own thing. And I thought that was kind of shot cleverly, where, like, they used the color palettes. Like, Jessica Jones had the cool colors, and then Luke Cage had yellows, which we were used to, and Daredevil had all reds and stuff, and who cares about Danny? And I
think it was green, but
it was green. I'm just being even
and I do want to comment on that. I think that was, once I got into it, I was like, oh yeah, I'm enjoying this, because the choice to go with the color palettes of their shows, and even the kind of the music, when it, like, you get Luke Cage, you get that music, and you get they didn't go super heavy on the Jessica Jones music, which I'm kind of glad, because it was a lot of that, like, detective saxophone type music. But each segment, when it would hop between them, and this is what I liked, was like, felt like you're just watching a scene from that show, and then it's going to go to a scene from Daredevil, and then a scene from Luke Cage, and then like, I liked that a lot. And I was like, well, I like those shows. I could just watch this, where it's literally those shows cut together.
Mm-hmm.
Right.
But that does, again, kind of highlight, and I guess Iron Fist stuff has its own style. It's just such a bland, clean, not stylistic style,
Mm-hmm.
But yeah. I'm sorry. I just want to jump in on, since you mentioned that.
No, that makes sense. So like the hand, because that's the main thing that's pulling these things together, sort of. And we'll get into that, I'm sure. But like the main thing that pulls Daredevil and I guess it's mainly Daredevil and Iron Fist. Like Iron Fist is kind of a big deal in this, but it's the hand is the biggest deal, and we get introduced to. Like we've been introduced to Madame Gao. We've been introduced to the guy in Iron Fist. Was Davos? Is that his name?
Yeah.
We've been introduced to some of these.
Davros?
No, the hand guy from Iron Fist. No, Davos was his friend.
Okay.
Oh, that's right.
What's
Colleen Wing's arch nemesis. So we knew about those characters, but we were introduced to the other fingers of the hand. yeah, we literally got the finger in this one, all the fingers, and so we're introduced to Sigourney Weaver, which was a huge bit of news.
Oh yeah, I got a minor tangent about Sigourney Weaver.
Mm-hmm.
I think so. Let's talk about Sigourney Weaver
for just a moment.
I think Sigourney Weaver's fine in this. Like, I thought she was good.
Mm-hmm.
They kind of give her a little bit of the Marvel villain treatment where they actually kind of like flesh her out, give her some several this is just what she does when she's alone moments, you know?
Right.
And I was talking to a coworker not long ago about actors that were big notable actors, and she still is, but that eventually just kind of become their paycheck, they just show up and it's like Robert De Niro is Robert De Niro in everything now, and Al Pacino is Al Pacino.
Robert Redford.
Yeah, they're there not because they're going to put in an amazing performance, because it's it's in this case it's Sigourney Weaver, and everybody knows it's Sigourney Weaver. So as soon as she shows up in something, whether it's something, what's that movie, Alien or something with the aliens,
I have no idea.
Okay, whatever. Or Cabin in the Woods or something. It's she's there because she's Sigourney Weaver, and she's going to do her usual Sigourney Weaver, I'm here to take control of the situation thing.
Because I'm a tough female and no nonsense businessy tough female.
Yeah, and I like Sigourney Weaver,
I love Sigourney Weaver.
But that's what she does now. And she's only ever in something as this Sigourney Weaver type character.
Unless it's an alien movie, and then
she's Sigourney Weaver,
and then she's her from Alien.
Yeah. Alien Sigourney Weaver's the same, only a little more reserved.
And she likes to murder things, but
yeah, that's true.
Or maybe she doesn't enjoy it, but she's really good at it.
Well, my point is Sigourney Weaver's a big get for a show like this, but I can't help but feel as soon as she popped up there, and I knew she was going to be in there, but it's just oh yeah, okay, it's Sigourney Weaver as the villain.
All right.
I don't know.
It's not like D'Onofrio where you're I wonder what the heck's going to happen.
Yeah, exactly. Or not that he's on the same traditionally fame level, but oh man,
David Tennant.
Yeah. It's oh, Tennant's going to be in this. That's interesting. He's David Tennant.
For nerd fans, it's at least.
Well, yeah, for sure. But part of it is it's not well, he's going to show up and just do David Tennant. No, he's going to show up and be a creepy, sleazy, horrible villain, and it's awesome. Or D'Onofrio, who's kind of creepy and sleazy anyway, in my opinion, is going to, I don't know, he give it a very peculiar twist.
Yeah.
And like I said, Sigourney Weaver, I ended up getting on board with her performance, but it's for the most part, though, she's still just kind of I don't know a better way to put it, hard-ass Sigourney Weaver.
Yeah.
Right.
Anyway, that's my Sigourney Weaver rant. I'm just worried that she.
I think Sigourney Weaver's good. I just don't think they don't challenge her.
No, I think she's just I guess you hire Sigourney Weaver because you want Sigourney Weaver in your movie, you would hire Robert De Niro because you want Robert De Niro in your movie.
And they almost gave her the same things to do as Quiet Reserved Kingpin, though. When the Kingpin would have his real particular things, this is my routine that I do every day, kind of thing. That's this character was very similar to that in that, she just has ridiculous amounts of money and she can have a private concert with an orchestra or whatever, or I don't know what you'd call that group, a quintet or something.
Yeah, exactly.
A small ensemble.
Yeah, I agree. It's not that they handled her similarly to Kingpin. She's obviously a different character, and I think a lot of those scenes set up, if anything, a lot of it, they kept hinting at how old she was. And they kind of kept hinting at that till after you're I get it. She's been around for a long time.
Yes, by the time that Jessica Jones figures it out, I'm just oh, for Pete's sakes, yes, she's old.
Oh, and the signature thing, when Jessica Jones figures out the signature specifically, that seems so late into the game where it's Well, I'm glad you're catching up.
Can I just say though,
right.
if somebody knows how to write in calligraphy, I think they can change their handwriting maybe. Because
it seems like
or
she
maybe
probably
not
just didn't care.
Or like maybe not name yourself with an A every single time.
Oh yeah, it's like the same initials.
Really stuck. We're just really stuck on it. Yeah. Mix it up. You've got thousands of years.
Their definition of immortal is dumb and inaccurate. Because immortal means you live forever, not I need to get some more of this stuff so I can live a little longer until I need to get a little more of this stuff. It's not immortal. That's a junkie for life or something. Life junkie. That's
life force junkie.
I'm a life junkie. Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, and this should go without saying, but spoilers. We're gonna get into spoilers on this.
Yeah.
Whoops.
Sorry. Okay, full spoilers. They're dragon bone junkie.
Yeah. Oh, and
Give me that bone dust.
I mean, I think they have to murder some teenagers or something too.
Oh yeah, there was a bunch of stuff where what
they got to mix it all up and make a cocktail of
was that the
death and dismemberment and then shoot it up. And they're good.
Second season of Daredevil, right?
Yeah, and
yeah,
that seemed way more hardcore than what than just getting some dragon bones. It's like all blooding or all these children in pots in the basement of some warehouse. That was creepy, weird stuff.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
So
agreed. It was crazy. Like everybody was also more afraid. I mean, like I think justifiably so, but everyone was way more afraid of Daredevil than they were of the Iron Fist.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think but
it was like a full stop. They were like, the devil of Hell's Kitchen is involved. Dun dun dun.
Mm-hmm.
He's got more
Whereas
mystery.
Iron Fist, like, oh yeah, we're hunting the Iron Fist.
And
he's kind of awful.
Is it just me, or did it seem like Jessica Jones just kind of stood around a lot and then she'd grab something and like whack somebody once in a while?
I think the problem with Jessica Jones is when you have her there next to Luke Cage, she does not seem impressive. Like her power set, I mean.
Mm-hmm.
Right.
Because she can do what he can do, except she can get hit by bullets and stabbed and all those things.
She's not quite as strong. And she is vulnerable.
She might be.
She's not as strong.
I think she might be stronger, but
Yeah.
she her
Really?
whole thing.
Yeah.
Well, her thing is that she never uses her powers, so it's hard to say. Like in Jessica Jones, she does that whole super leap thing, like leaping tall buildings kind of thing.
Yeah, like once.
Right, but she
didn't.
She never does it. Yeah, she never does it. And even in this show, same thing. Like even when it comes down to the last episode, that's where you finally get her leaping from the top of the cable of the elevator to grab onto a girder and hold up the whole
And that was a great car.
elevator car.
Yeah, and she could do one of those superhero things where she jumps and lands and cracks the ground and have with her fist on it. She could totally do that.
She should.
I know.
No, she's the kind of person that like sees somebody do that and be like, ugh.
Yeah, I know. But I'm just saying she could do it.
I guess you're right about the strength thing, because when she catches the cable to the elevator, and even Luke Cage is like, whoa.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Whoa.
Well, and she's holding both of them up in this elevator car. kind of thing.
Well, they're both
And I
standing there
don't know-
looking, and I'd have been like, any day now,
Mm-hmm.
get out of there.
Yeah.
Especially you, Luke. You're a big dude. You are heavy.
right. And I'm confused as to what level of strength Luke Cage has, but I mean, like that was the thing. I was like, I thought he was just bulletproof, but no, I guess he's always been kind of super strong. But
He was
like to what degree?
well, and that's why I thought he seemed stronger than her, because like, other than the elevator thing at the end, like we see her flip up like a counter or something, like a table.
Mm-hmm.
And but Luke Cage is pulling like chunks of building boulders off of cars, and
Right.
setting, like huge chunks. And so yeah, we just didn't get that demonstration of strength from her most of the time.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But she can, I don't know if she can lift a car, but I think she can. I know she can hold it there while it's trying to drive away.
Her power, her special ability is drinking and then eventually taking the job she's going to take.
Yeah.
Right. Exactly. Yeah.
Yeah. And secretly investigating
And just
people when
being
wrong.
like disgusted about the whole thing. Like,
Yeah.
Okay, I know we're picking apart this, and I do have some good things to say about various parts of it, because overall I enjoyed it. But one thing that really annoyed me, but we're going to continue picking it apart. One thing that really annoyed me is not even plot convenient, like drawing out the plot where every character will flip-flop at least twice
Oh, yeah.
For no reason. Like at first, and I guess I kind of understand some of the motivations, Jessica Jones didn't want anything to do with it. But then she's like, no, Daredevil, we should have something to do with it. And then she's like, you guys are crazy. I'm leaving. And Daredevil the whole time's like, no. And then eventually he changes his mind.
Yes. You're the one wearing my scarf on your head.
And Luke's even like, no, this isn't going to work, but this is the right thing to do. No, you people are crazy. Like it's like all just go through the except for Danny. And then he's like, and then when they finally come up with like a good idea, he's like, no, you guys are crazy. I'm doing this on my own. It's like, what?
right.
What is this?
It's like they had a legitimate plan that everybody was on board with, except him, because he's like, no, I'm not hiding.
Exactly.
I'm not gonna hide.
Like you're what they want. You're the thing we need to protect. Yeah, well, screw you guys. I'm gonna go do it by myself.
I didn't get that though. They said that okay, they needed him to break open that sealed whatever, but then why couldn't he just seal it up again? That's how it got sealed the first time, right?
Oh yeah.
Why did they have to?
Because they killed like everybody involved with Kunlun. So I mean, like anybody that knew how to do it was not around anymore. I mean, like that was the kind of tie-in for Luke Cage, and they were not clear about it, like at all. They were like, just
with the kids, the young guys.
Like they would, because then like the kids from Harlem that were basically part of a cleanup crew would come in after the Hand, which I was getting to that, and I lost my train of thought. Like at one point, they stopped being ninjas and just started being dudes in like hipster coats.
Yeah.
Or like navy pea coats or whatever. Like, we're all ninjas, but we don't wear hoods anymore.
I think it would have been better if they would have had Sigourney Weaver doing some ninja stuff.
She did she little bit. Some martial arts stuff.
Mm.
She flipped some people around.
No, she should have been like hanging from the ceiling upside down and then did a backflip down and with a knife and stabbed somebody. Yeah, something like that.
She's getting up there. And she's close to death in the show.
Yeah. In the show, yeah.
Sigourney. Never mind. I'm not going to jinx Sigourney Weaver.
Okay.
Oh, God, yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
So,
yeah. We're just kind of jumping all over the place.
Yeah.
Dragon bone baby blood mixture that keeps alive.
Dragon bone baby blood mixture?
Is this supposed to, like, make them young again? Because otherwise, won't she just always be dying? It'll keep her in a constant state of I'm dying?
That's a good point, because it didn't make Elektra young.
No.
I'm assuming it's the same concoction they used on, what's his name? Mitchum.
Yeah.
The Mitchum dad.
Yeah. And that ended.
It didn't make him young.
Well, Harold and Mitchum.
Although they did say to Harold that he doesn't look like he's aged since he died. So maybe it just stops aging.
Oh, yeah.
Mm-hmm.
It's like a vampire thing.
So is it like a marinade for everybody or just for the black sky? Like, okay, we're going to marinate you in this cocoon.
Yeah, that's a good question if it works different for different people, because we never saw how they do it with Mitchum.
And
Harold.
They didn't for the second time he died. He just came back.
Oh, it must have been a different process for him then. Oh, this is inconsistent. You're right.
Mm-hmm. And I was wondering that too when they chopped that guy's head off. I was kind of hoping it would start talking or something, but I didn't know what the rules of it are.
Oh yeah, they did that. That is how they would have took. They were supposed to take out Harold too. Was remove the head.
Okay.
Instead, they shot him off a building and then I guess cremated him.
Well, cremation. It's kind of, I guess, vampire rules then. If you cut off their head or burn them,
there's no head. So yeah.
Well, I guess vampires you can stick in the heart too, but I don't know. Whatever.
Okay. Stuff we liked.
Mm-hmm.
So I liked a lot of the action stuff. I think the first half of it, some of the action stuff, I mean, you don't really get the good action stuff until they finally all come together.
Mm-hmm.
After Danny's plan to run in there and threaten them, I guess.
Mm-hmm.
But, and that was okay. I think that first sequence was fun just because it's the first time we had all of them there fighting. And then towards the end of, like, in the last episode, where they're down in the cave fighting, I thought was awesome. But then there's certain sequences like when they're fighting a few fingers of the Hand in the car garage, I did not care for. It cut so fast constantly between, I understand there's a lot of people, but like sometimes they handled it well. And then sometimes like that scene, it did not handle well. It's cut so fast between people that I was like, I don't even know what's happening.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know who it is that just threw that punch. I don't know why that car is getting scraped up. Like, what is going on?
Right.
Yeah, I like the choreography so much better on this than Iron Fist.
Right? Yeah, I would agree with that.
Even Iron Fist's scenes were so head and shoulders better.
Yeah. No, I agree. Like, better choreography. And for the most part, except for that one scene, like, it was filmed better. It come across better. It seemed like it actually had some impact and fluidity.
Mm-hmm.
Whereas in the Iron Fist series, it didn't. It seemed weak. I don't know. I'm assuming they have different people working on it, but
you would think for one of the ones that's supposed to be like I'm assuming one of the best martial artists around, they would want to have
that's part of why
the best martial artist choreographer around.
That's part of why Iron Fist was so disappointing because, like, I mean, Daredevil like set up some awesome fight sequences, and it's like Jessica Jones. It's like, well, that's not really what that's about. And even Luke Cage like had its own thing. They're like, well, now we're not necessarily doing that. We're gonna be, this. And I was like, well, but Iron Fist it's Iron Fist. Like, that's what it should be, a kung fu movie in series form. And yeah, the choreography was real loose, real sloppy.
They should have been more Bruce Lee.
Yeah, it's flow like water. I tried not
like
to.
Fire. Can't remember.
Yeah, what was that? That was in the comic we just read.
It was.
Okay, we'll talk about that next episode.
Okay, but anyway.
Move like fire, flow like water. Something like that. Yeah.
I think that the history type stuff of the hand and the whatever, I think that's all really interesting, but I wish they would have done more with it or made it better. I don't know how exactly to say it, but
it seemed like they only had 8 episodes and they did make all that go really fast.
Yeah, but that's the kind of stuff that I'm always like, wow, look at that. Generations and generations of things happening, except that, those people don't have generations because they're all just immortal-ish.
Well, 2 of the brand new hand characters were really pretty interesting, and we got to see them for a while and never again.
Yeah, the dude dissecting the bear. Like, what was his deal? He was cool.
Yeah, and he only speaks in his language.
Yeah,
everybody understands him, and he understands them. He just refuses to speak in anything but his language.
I really like that. I like the scenes where, they're talking to each other in different languages, and yeah, that was good.
Now, was White Hat? He was a member of the Hand. He just stopped wearing a white hat, right? Okay, that's what I thought. I was like,
yes.
Wait, are these 2 different characters? They are the same guy, right? Okay.
He was cool too.
Yeah.
Yeah, he's the other one.
Created great tension in all those scenes in that warehouse or whatever. Wherever they were.
I was a little confused about so they were all like monks or something initially.
They were all
except
part
for
of
Sigourney.
Kunlun. Yeah.
Right, except Sigourney
They
Weaver.
all lived in Kunlun.
No, I think
all
she
of
did
them.
too.
Even Sigourney Weaver was there.
Yeah, she was there, but that's not like she was from there. She went there from the real world after her kid died. It's the way she had a daughter. Her daughter got sick and died, and then she journeyed to Kunlun.
Oh, is that really?
Yes.
Okay, I missed that bit.
Well, that's what I'm saying. It's they didn't explain how these people ended up as this group that found out this thing and did all these other things. And that's why I was like, it was a good story, and I wish they would have explained it more.
Yeah.
Right.
Even though they, through the other parts of the show and the Sigourney Weaver scenes, like, you kind of guess what's going on way before Jessica Jones finally figures it out. But I kind of liked her investigation when she was like finding the deeds or the titles or whatever for all the shell companies throughout the years. I thought that was cool, but then that's pretty much the end of the investigation. She gets to, everybody figures out through various ways they need to go to middle circle or whatever.
Yeah.
It reminded me, it should have been one of those things where like they had old not photocopies, what are those?
Microfiche?
Yeah. And they would be like, that one, and that one, and that one. And then she gets all scared, and then somebody comes behind her and goes, ah! That's what that should have been. One of those scenes.
Yeah. Intense microfiche tension scene.
Yeah, montage. Microfiche montage. Yeah.
Yep.
But I guess, stacking files on top of each other, whatever. Close enough.
Okay, so how did we... let's kind of break it down to character... I mean, if this is an amalgamation of those 4 series, let's break it down to the characters Daredevil and his kind of plot or whatever.
I didn't care for Elektra the first time around, and I still don't.
Oh, I'm glad.
I kind of wish they would have just left that alone.
Yeah.
So when they brought her back, I was really digging Elektra, and this has probably come across bad, but I was like, I like Elektra when she doesn't talk. But when she's
her best
mysterious,
acting was at that point.
Stoic,
yeah,
intense, crazy, like killer, like you got to be careful. But even when she was kind of like, I don't know, not waking up, but like remembering stuff, it's like that was interesting. And I was like, ooh, I actually kind of like Elektra this in this series. I didn't like her in season 2 of Daredevil that much.
Yeah,
and then
the more she becomes Elektra, the less I like her.
Yeah, I agree.
Exactly. Yeah, then she starts talking.
I really like the scene where she kills Sigourney Weaver.
Yeah.
We already said spoilers, right? Yeah.
Yeah, we did. Yeah, I like that too. It was unexpected. Actually, right. I mean, I kind of figured it might happen eventually, but not then.
Mm-hmm.
Right. Yeah.
And then she was just like, "This is mine now."
Yeah, I know. I was like, that's kind of obnoxious of her. Yeah. I'm in charge.
Well,
now.
And that's when you were like, "Oh, yep, it's Elektra again."
Yeah.
Because that's kind of the character she was.
Yeah, and I don't care for that.
No.
I didn't care so much for Foggy in this. Like, I feel like they didn't direct him well. They basically just gave him his lines and let him read them as wooden as. I know he can deliver pretty wooden, but like, this is pretty wooden Foggy.
I think both of the Daredevils.
Yeah, both of them.
They were just like an afterthought. They just were like, oh, wait, I guess we have to put them in here somehow, huh?
They're definitely like a reminder to me of like what I didn't like about season 2 of Daredevil, because I don't like the arc that they go on. I don't like.
Yeah.
Right.
I kind of, between the two, I understand why Foggy got so upset about it.
Well, he got all butthurt, but.
Yeah, but I don't really understand why Karen gets so upset. That's how she met them in the first place. She knew Daredevil before she knew Matt.
And she was kind of like a Lois Lane, where she was like, "Oh, Daredevil."
Yeah, and she shot a dude. Okay, so she just needs to get over it. She's
got more in common with him. Yeah, she's got a lot in common with these vigilante guys.
And so I don't dig that she has such a problem with it. I don't think it just doesn't make sense to me. I don't dig that Foggy would hold on to that grudge so long. I mean, he's obviously trying to be friends with him and stuff. And that's good. But like treating the superhero thing as an addiction is, it's okay, but it's also super cheesy.
Yeah.
Yeah. And I don't understand why it's so difficult for them to see that it's something that he should be doing. But maybe they just never got a chance to see how immersed he is in it.
See, but Karen should know. He literally saved her life as Daredevil. That's like one of those first like big Daredevil outings.
No, I know, but
she was kind of hinting at how much good he did as Daredevil too at the beginning, and then yet when he starts putting the suit back on, she's freaking out again.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, but they don't. I mean, they don't know about the hand and this and that and how big a lot of the things that he was involved in are.
No.
That's what I'm saying.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
I mean, we can get into the whole thing about Daredevil at the end in its own little segment. But one thing I did find effective with those two is at the end when everybody walks back into the station and they're just waiting for Matt to walk through.
Yeah.
And you get the slow cut between them and the pan to the door, or the zoom up.
Yeah, that was shot well, and they were actually directed.
Yeah.
That's what I mean. Like when they're directed, I think they do okay, but like a lot of times I didn't feel like they were like, okay, here's what we need you to say.
Yeah.
And that's what he did. He literally just recited lines.
And I like those characters, man. I like them. I wish they were handled well.
Yeah.
They don't fit as well with the group though.
It's kind of interesting because you see everyone's, especially like I liked it. I liked the idea of like all their side characters in like herded into the station. But you're right. Like if you look at, Night Nurse has been in like everything.
Yeah.
But like everybody like Colleen and man, who else is there?
Trish was another one that was tough. Like she was just there because
they wanted to cut her arm off and give her a robot arm.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, no, not Misty, but
Trish,
the radio,
Trish.
the disc jockey.
Okay.
Yeah, exactly. Who's Trish? Because she's in there so much.
They even kind of like, I was a little surprised they didn't utilize her more in some kind of way because Jessica Jones kind of set her up as the series, I mean, as like, isn't she a character? What's her name? Like Wildcat or something like that?
Oh yeah, she is. She's Hellcat. Is that right?
Hellcat?
Maybe that'll come in the next
Patsy
season,
Walker.
But I like the creepy bit on her radio station too, where they're like, "Oh, is there a
shut down the earthquake talk?"
Yeah, that's crazy. I think that Jessica Jones and what's his name again? Tell me.
Luke
Cage would have been much more awkward and uncomfortable the entire time, and they waited till the very end, and then it wasn't even that bad.
Well, yeah, because they left things very poorly.
She shot him in the head, and then he disappeared, and Begin hated her for murdering his wife. Come on. I think there'd be a little bit of tension there.
Yeah. Yeah, but she's kind of a crappy person, but they're both decent people, and I'm assuming
they're both crappy, decent people.
I'm assuming a lot of time has passed since then. I mean, he did his whole prison stint in between that season and this, apparently.
Yeah, but those are the people that I don't even want. If I see them, I walk the other direction. Much less I'm going to be fighting there with them and not have anything weird happen. No, I don't buy it.
It was smoothed over pretty quick, though.
Yeah.
Yeah, I agree.
Yeah.
Although the end scene with them when
the coffee.
He goes to, the coffee, and he just doesn't even he doesn't even say nothing. Although it was kind of like awkward and crappy of her to say that specifically too.
I don't think, but that never came up in her series though, so she wouldn't get that reference.
Oh, really? It didn't come up in her series?
No. They just had coffee without ever saying anything. I mean, that was all specific to his series.
Okay, because I read into it that way, and I was like, ooh, why would she ask? And also, it's like the way he kind of didn't respond was like extra cold. Which, I mean, that still stands, but... But
she said it, right? I mean,
yeah, she said it. She didn't understand what it means to him. Like,
that's weird then.
But I mean,
why would she say that?
Isn't that kind of, I mean, they're in a bar having a drink, so isn't coffee still kind of like a
code word?
Yeah.
In some shows.
I don't know.
Okay. Anyway. Regardless.
That was weird and awkward, but not weird and awkward enough. That's my point.
Yeah.
Yeah. Gotcha.
Okay. So let's jump to, Luke Cage. Oh, Jesse, I know you have thoughts on his tie into this.
Oh yeah. Well, it just seemed like it just seemed the weakest as far as tie-ins go. Because like Jessica Jones, her client literally built the building and then was killed in her office. So she obviously had a tie-in. But Luke Cage, like his tie-in is he got out of jail, was gonna lay low for a while, and then Misty Knight comes to him and is like, "Hey, there's been some kids just like disappearing."
Yeah, but wasn't there some kid from a previous season or something that had died or something like that, and then his brother was one of the ones involved in it?
Yeah, the family, I think, like his sister or something was the waitress.
Oh, you're right. They tied it into the lady that basically Misty kind of dropped the ball on and got killed. Yeah,
so this is like her last kid, and he was involved with this bad thing that he knew was going to end badly because it had for his brother and everybody else who's been involved with it.
Okay, that was the tie to the other season. Okay, yeah, it is.
But once that kid was dead and he knew what was going on,
they kind of keep the connection to his series going with Misty, though, with wrangling them into the. But I mean, still, even that, it's more Misty's got some weird connection to it, but even that's like coincidental.
Mm.
Yeah.
And didn't that kid die like in one of the first couple episodes?
Yeah, in prison.
Yeah, it didn't take long.
Yeah.
But that's motivation then. Now he's got to track down who's responsible.
Yeah, I suppose.
For vengeance.
Yeah.
Sort of.
Yeah.
Sort of. He don't want to kill nobody, but
that's the thing. It was like, okay, now it's time for vengeance. He's the one that's like, this ain't happening.
But I don't think the show realizes how delicate brains and skulls are, because some of the times when they hit these people, I'm pretty sure those people aren't gonna be functioning any longer.
Even Danny Rand shouldn't be able to take a punch like he takes sometimes. Because he takes some pretty solid punches from both Luke and Jessica.
Yeah.
And Jessica's lays him out for like a day, it seems. But he's still a regular dude. He's got a chi power, but
maybe that's why he has the mind of a 12-year-old.
Too many punches in the head.
Super powered punches, yep. Ooh, the first Danny Rand, the first Iron Fist Luke Cage interaction was fun. That fight.
Yeah.
Yeah, it was.
Yeah, that was fun. I mean, that actually worked better than I thought it would. When I was watching the Iron Fist thing, I was like, there's no way these guys are going to be friends. This is not going to work. And I don't know if it worked great, but it worked better than I thought.
Danny was all excited about it when they first suggested what's her name? The Colleen or whatever. Suggested they first, like, they team up or whatever. And he's like, yeah, it'll be great.
Yeah, he had a man crush.
Yeah.
For sure.
Yeah.
The problem is, Melanie, how did that come across to you? Because the problem is, I know they're a team up. Like, those two are kind of a duo a lot of times in the comics.
Makes sense.
Does it? Because, and so going into this, like, I knew that. So it felt kind of forced, given their interactions initially, where, like, I don't know, Danny'd give the smile, where it's like, oh, they're going to be friends. But it's like, it kind of felt, I don't know, it didn't necessarily. Although they're the two of the four, they're the two more laid back ones. So I guess that makes sense. Yeah.
They are the two more laid back. And I guess what's his name's power is similar to Jessica Jones's more than, but they still seem that they would work together better than Jessica Jones would with either of them, and which only leads to Daredevil, really. And they kind of make sense too because of his lawyer abilities. His lawyering and her detectiving fit well together.
Yeah. The kind of friendship that those two make, it seemed real rushed and forced.
Yeah.
I mean, it wasn't like they became tight buds or anything, but they kind of just used that one scene where she apparently off screen had investigated his background to set up some type of bond that they exploited during the fake out at the end.
They kind of seem like the kind of people that even if they didn't have superpowers, if they met, would still get along in, strange circles away from everybody that they're normally around every once in a while, but wouldn't talk about. I don't know if that makes any sense.
So then Jessica Jones, I mean, her stuff made sense. It actually felt like she got quite a bit of screen time compared to some of the other ones. And I could be wrong, but it felt that way.
She didn't always do a lot, but she did get a decent amount of screen time because anytime anyone said anything even remotely ridiculous, she got the eye roll option.
Oh yeah, that's true.
And that actually got a little old at a certain point, but it was usually funny. It was usually a pretty good beat.
Yeah, I kind of hate her character. I'm not a big fan of her. Like, I mean, it's her character. It's well done because she's thoroughly kind of a overly moody, crappy person. But so that much is well done. But it doesn't add to me liking her at all.
Sure, yeah.
I don't hate her. She's okay, but she's at least consistent most of the time.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think part of the reason you don't like her is part of the reason that she's a good person, though. Because I think she's all moody about herself, or all moody all the time because she doesn't like herself because she does crappy stuff. But feeling bad about it makes her more of a decent person.
Yeah, but it's her tude, man. She got a lot of tude.
It's true.
And they don't shy away from making her kind of sleazy. She stole that bum's beer.
I know. Well,
that was rad, though. That was a great scene.
It was.
She's an alcoholic, isn't she?
Oh, yeah, definitely.
Right. So it's that kind of surprising she went that long without, doing...
I mean, it makes her an interesting character because conversely, I like Luke Cage, but Luke Cage is... The character of Luke Cage was one of the more bland aspects of the Luke Cage series. I think it was everyone else around him that made that series so interesting.
Yeah.
Right.
And they're all kind of jerks.
They are a little bit, yeah.
All of them. Danny and Matt is a total jerk in this. Yeah.
Yeah.
So I don't know. I guess that's kind of fun.
Nice ears. They're horns.
Yeah. Oh yeah, there was some good cracks about what was it?
Jessica
Towards
Jones. She brought the best facetious cracks. Get up, Ironclad. It's Iron Fist. I know.
Yeah. No, Daredevil shows up in the suit towards the end when they go into the building, and she's like, "Oh, you brought what's it? Oh, that thing." Or something like that. Just that gut reaction, oh god, that. I thought that was
a great scene. I laughed out loud at that.
Overall, it was all right. They could have done better, but I enjoyed it. But if it continues and they do another one, which I'm assuming they're going to, they need to do better. Because this level will not
I hope
appease my problems. Words that I can't think of.
I hope they do. I hope they do another one because they've more or less dealt with the fist. Mm-hmm. Or not the fist, the hand, whatever.
Except that there's still a couple fingers out there.
Yeah, but I mean, I think it would get redundant if they use that as the big bad again. So I would definitely like a less Iron Fist-centric big bad. Even though they tied it well into Daredevil with Elektra and stuff. But
and something that maybe doesn't involve mythical creatures existing on Earth itself.
Yeah, that's a little weird. Yeah, well, more of a science fiction-y thing or something. And that would also like negate some of the necessary, like the stuff they have to do. Like it's a new team, but they're not a team. They're going to fight. Okay, they're kind of a team. They're not a team. Like gets around that stuff.
Yeah.
Right.
Cut past that. I mean, they don't have to have a like team hideout or anything, but yeah, bring them together again against another big bad. Mm-hmm. I think would be cool.
Yeah. I'd like to see it done again. And it did open up some interesting things for the characters going forward, like the way that they ended things with Matt lying in the bed. Like they were totally setting it up for Born Again, or at least the Netflix version of it, where they call for Sister Maggie.
Oh, okay.
Okay. Spoilers. No, I won't tell you who she is, but I mean, like, yeah, she's important.
Yeah, I that's one of the things that I forgot to say I didn't care for. I'm like, yeah, right, they're going to kill off like one of their most popular characters. I don't buy it, and it's stupid for them to even try.
Yeah, that did seem a little, I don't know what the word is, but yeah.
It's like, you're launching a whole universe based on, I don't know, DC characters, and you decide to kill Superman. Guess what?
Yeah.
No one's buying it.
Yeah.
But also like that scenario, they can't even wait to like just leave it like, well, maybe he is dead. They have to like then throw the scene on of like, nah, he's not dead. You knew he wasn't.
Yeah.
Right.
Someday I want them to kill someone off and just let them be dead.
Problem is we're talking about comic book stuff, and comic book characters rarely actually die.
Right. I bet what's arm's going to grow back too, huh?
She's got a robot arm.
I know. I know that, but
oh, okay.
That was a shock because I figured they wouldn't do that. I figured in Luke Cage. Wait, was it Luke Cage? Yeah. They hinted at it where she got shot in the arm. And it's like, you gotta be careful or you're gonna lose that arm. I figured that was like as far as they would go with that. I didn't expect them to then actually cut the arm off in this series.
Yep, and that's why I knew because Randy knew and told me.
Yeah. Punisher's next. Punisher series is next.
Yeah.
There's a trailer that came out. I don't know. Maybe it's by the time this episode goes up, it'll definitely be old. But there's a trailer that came out. I'll show it to you later if you want.
Are they gonna try and put him into the Defender thing?
I don't know.
Because that seems weird.
Ooh, that would be an interesting. Well, I bet you he would. I mean, he wouldn't be on the team so much as,
on a roof across the street, sniping like he was at the end of Daredevil season 2.
Yeah.
There you go. Yeah.
Like, hey, Daredevil, here you go. I helped you out. We're gonna exchange a smile, even though I just murdered those people. But
but you didn't have to murder them yourself, so you still have a clean conscience.
Although the Defenders, they all went for a full murder as soon as they got on that elevator.
Yeah.
Like, oh yeah. I don't know what else they could have done, but it's like, no, we're just gonna throw you all off.
They're all immortal, so it doesn't matter.
No, those guys weren't. Those were henchmen.
But they
did fight some of the immortal
hand ninjas in navy peacoats.
I think Karen Page will be in. I think I saw her in the Punisher trailer, which makes sense because outside of like coming across Matt as Daredevil, like her character had the most interaction with Punisher in that in Daredevil season 2.
Didn't she tell you a story?
I don't know.
I thought she did.
I assume she would have.
Oh yeah,
I think that's how she got that job.
Yeah.
So that's fun.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I don't know. The Daredevil or the Punisher stuff in Daredevil season 2 was just so brutal and insane and kind of awesome that if they can kind of bring that intensity, I'm down for it. And it's one of those trailers where it's basically a music video. They cut it to like Metallica music and stuff. And I'm like, okay, well, everybody's like falling over themselves for the video, for the trailer because it's like that. But I don't know. That's like, yeah, it's neat, but that's not indicative of what the show is. So,
right.
I don't think the show can really, but I'm basing this mostly on that one Punisher that we read.
Punisher Max. Yeah.
Yes. I don't think they can do.
I don't know. I think they can. Because after I watched that trailer on YouTube, the little suggested things were like the brutal fight scenes of his in Daredevil, and I rewatched the two main ones, the one in prison and then the one where he's fighting the two dudes in the diner. I forgot how insane gory Daredevil season 2 goes. Like, I knew it was bad, but like I rewatched it. I mean, yeah, he's blowing dudes' heads off and stabbing people in the eye and in the throat. And
okay, well, maybe then.
I think they'll go hard R for the most part.
Okay, that'll work.
Because it almost seems like, I mean, maybe they amp it up a little bit because you don't have to do like as extreme a Daredevil as they've done, but it kind of seems like more or less they match what the character is. Like Iron Fist wasn't that hardcore. There's some violence and stuff, but it wasn't that hardcore. Jessica Jones had some like weird sex stuff, so that kind of makes sense. Luke Cage was pretty tame all around. And then like Daredevil gets as hardcore as like the characters that are in there. Like when Punisher's in there, there's brutal violence and stuff, but so it kind of seems like they match, you know, like it's Punisher. Of course it's going to be brutal.
Yeah.
Yeah.
All right. Anything else?
Letters page.
Yes. Let's do the letters page. I'll probably cut in a little promo for the information here so we don't have to say it.
Yay.
This is Randy from in the future, and I have a very important message for you. The Grawlix podcast is missing something, and that something is you. Join our letters page segment. If you have thoughts on what we're reading, what we just read, what we're about to read, what you're reading, or you just want to say hi, send us an email to letters@grawlixpodcast.com, and we'll read and discuss your letter on the show. What the devil? What are you doing here? Hey folks, this is Randy from further in the future. And what my former self neglected to mention is we also have a Google Voice line. You can call it, leave a message, and we will play that message on the next episode of the Grawlix podcast. Try to keep it under 2 minutes. Whatever you want to talk to us about it. Ideally, something related to the show. Dial 559-426-6427, or if this helps you remember, 559-4-COMICS. Type that into your phone, you'll be connected to our voicemail, leave us a message, and we will play it on the show. This is getting ridiculous. Get out of my way. This is Randy from even further in the future. And what these two knuckleheads neglected to mention is if you'd rather send us an MP3 recording of yourself to play on the show, you can hit that email. Again, that's letters@grawlixpodcast.com with an MP3 attachment, and we'll play it during the show. Just try to keep your language clean and keep it under 2 minutes. Also, hey Bonehead, did you just shoot our younger self? It's cool. Shouldn't we be doing the Marty McFly disappear from the picture act right now? No, it's fine. He was a time remnant. That doesn't make sense. A time remnant doesn't make sense. At some point, older Randy has to travel back to talk to younger Randy. But if older Randy kills younger Randy never gets to become older Randy and travel back in time. It's time travel, not cloning. We're not cloning and sending ourselves back. We're just time traveling. You don't know that. We could be operating on primer rules. In that case, there can only be one.
So, we've got a question from Peter from the Superior Comics Show. That's at Superior Comics 16 on Twitter. And his question for this episode is, how did you guys get started? I'd love to hear your origin story.
Now, does he mean reading comics or doing the podcast or...
He didn't really go into detail, so I suppose we could go into any of that, really. Because they kind of connect, because we wouldn't be doing the podcast without comic books. So
yeah, he's probably talking more comic books anyway, huh?
I started dating Randy.
But you know what? Okay, I'll add on to that though.
Yeah,
Melanie, it's the chicken or the egg though, because Melanie is the reason I got into comics really like hardcore. When I was younger, like I don't know, a kid and maybe off and on in teenage years, I'd acquired some random comic books, but I never really, I don't think I ever got like a regular allowance. So I didn't have my own money most of the time to spend on comic books. And if I did, I was renting video games. So that's where my money went. But, I'd get I think my dad picked up some random like Spider-Man and different comic books once in a while. Or I'd like the Death of Superman stuff. Like everybody that was like, it's going to be huge. You need to buy a copy. It's going to be worth so much money in the future.
Oh,
and
man,
So I had a copy of that and the couple of issues that followed. So I had some random comic books that I'd come across and I liked them. I read every one. I read the words off those pages. And I loved the Batman animated series and the Batman movies to a point, the good Batman movies.
Yeah.
The X-Men 90s cartoon was awesome. And and the Spider-Man 90s cartoon, nobody ever talks about. Maybe it doesn't hold up, but I remember liking that quite a bit.
I've got the DVDs and stuff, but they're not as good.
Doesn't hold up, no.
I don't know. I like it. I still like them, but yeah, probably not so well.
So I always liked comic book characters. I was always a big Batman fan, but it wasn't until Melanie and we had been dating for a while, and this is after I got into Doctor Who, which I didn't get into until much later. Doctor Who's very much tied into this as well, which kind of makes sense why we cover that occasionally, even though it's not really.
And that was because of me.
Doctor Who's totally because of Melanie. But we went to do a double feature movie at a theater next to a comic shop in Omaha, and in between showings, because we just went to one and then had to kill time before the next one. Hey, there's a comic shop over there. I want to go in there and look around. And they were doing the Doctor Who Star Trek crossover series. And I'm not even a Star Trek.
Is that really where it started?
Yeah.
Oh, wow.
That's when I started collecting them.
That was a decent crossover.
That was
That was you. That was totally you, Melanie.
Of course.
I'm not even a big Star Trek fan, but then I saw the cover with the half of it's half Cyberman, half
Borg.
And I was like, well, this makes sense. I got to buy this.
Mm.
But I even looked at Melanie. I was like, should I buy this? Should I and I grabbed a bunch, of course. I was like, should I start collecting comics? Is that a thing I should do? And you're like, yeah, check it out. It's awesome. And so there it was. And that's when it started.
Yeah.
Thousands of dollars later.
I didn't realize that. Because I kept thinking you had X-Men comics.
You're right. I did have X-Men comics.
Yeah.
I had bought a bunch of X-Men comics while I was still living in Fremont because I got on a kick of I want to collect comics. I want to collect something. I'm going to buy a bunch of X-Men comics. And I still haven't read any of those.
Yeah.
I just bought them. But,
I was the one that was like, no, we just need to collect stuff that's cool.
Yeah.
Like this.
Yeah.
And then
that's when I started buying them on the regular and actually digging into them.
And that's when I got into comics because I got Sandman and Sandman Rocks and then everything else. And then I just ate up ungodly amounts of series. I just gobbled them all up.
Mostly Image, yeah. For a while, you were in a huge chunk of what Image was putting out.
Entire series in a very short amount of time.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, that's how I do.
That's our story.
Oh no,
and then sticking to it.
And Jesse, from Louie or from I don't know.
Yeah, I mean I have ties with Jesse from way back when. But it's funny because I used to hang out with both of Jesse's brothers on the regular all the time. But Jesse was just old enough to where I think most of the time I was hanging out with his brothers, he was away to college already.
Yeah.
So you were the one Kiefer brother that I didn't really know that well.
Oh, right.
I don't remember what the catalyst was, but basically we started talking about comic books. Maybe it was Doctor Who,
yeah.
And then kind of moved into comic books, and we talk about that stuff all the time.
And then I think somebody might have convinced you to play D&D or something too. I don't know. Is that him?
No, that was an extra. I don't think that was Jesse specifically.
Okay, good. Not that I have
Oh, Jesse's definitely the most experienced D&D player I know. But
the interesting thing about D&D and comics for me is comics is what got me into D&D because Kevin was my DM and he basically I'm a huge Multiple Man fan and I was like, all right, I'll try this, but I want to be like Multiple Man. Can you do that? And he was like, yeah, I can do that. And he came up with some crazy rule sets for me and basically plunked me into it's Ravenloft. So it's like a horror setting. So we were in this werewolf town. And here I am, a mutant X-Man with a quarterstaff. And we're basically holed up in a house just trying to survive until morning.
Cool.
And it was awesome. I was hooked.
I think I would have gotten into D&D because including, I hung out with Mitch and Kevin that he just mentioned, and all those guys a lot, including when they would be playing D&D. And I was like, I'm not into it. But I wasn't into the Dungeons and Dragons type setting. I think if I had more friends that played some ridiculous game like Vampire the Masquerade, but weren't total pretentious idiots,
Yeah.
Because that's the people, I knew people that played that, but they were also like, jerky.
You need more people like me and my Blumpkin people,
Plumpkin?
Yeah.
Did you play Vampire the Masquerade?
No, I don't even know what that is.
No. It's like a role-playing game. But yeah, I mean, I think I'd have got into D&D stuff earlier if somebody I knew played, like Jesse was saying with the horror setting, played a setting that appealed to me more than the dragon stuff at the time.
Right.
Dragons are scary.
Which is funny because that's not like a setting that's normal, but for whatever reason, that's what they were playing at the time. So I was like, all right, I'll try your crazy game. So let's work it up real quick. And they threw me in and I was like, oh, this is cool. I could do this.
But you've been reading comics since you were a wee lad, yeah?
Oh yeah. I mean, I have. Oh yeah. I'm going to throw in a terrible accent. Yeah. When I was I think probably my earliest memories of comics would be like I had all the Secret Wars. Secret Wars was the big event where they first came out with toys. Or that I remember. I know they probably had toys forever, but like I grew up watching Spider-Man and His Amazing Friends, so I had Firestar and Iceman, and I just figured that's how it worked, like I didn't really get the whole X-Men thing. I thought they were just friends, so I had that. I had like Dr. Doom's been one of my favorite villains forever, and I really thought he was a Spider-Man villain because I had a coloring book where Dr. Doom and Spidey were going toe to toe. So I had all these Secret Wars figures and those kinds of things. And then just one day, and then my uncle bought us like Carl Barks, Huey, Dewey, and Louie, like Uncle Scrooge and Donald Duck comics. Because there was literally Louie in our family. And then I was Huey and Jake was Dewey. So it was Huey, Dewey, and Louie.
Okay.
So we were reading these comics, like he would give us these things as like Christmas gifts. So there always was kind of comics in our house in some form. And we read the cover off that thing. I had to buy my own version of it as an adult so I could like read it again. Cause the copy that we had as kids was just demolished. And I think it was Daredevil, oddly enough, where we would go on these vacations and we would pile up into the back. I don't think it's legal anymore, but we would pile up into the back of a pickup. And my dad had bolted like a van seat into the back of a pickup. And there was like a hard shell camper top over the top of the back. But we'd basically ride everywhere in the bed of a pickup truck on a van seat that was bolted in. And that's what they would do to shut us up, was basically buy us just a ton of comics. And so that's where I got into things like Archie and, like I've read a little bit of everything growing up. And I think it was Daredevil where I was like, I really like this one. I'm keeping this one. I wonder how you do that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
How do you keep them nice? But I also had a friend who was into like the Spider-Ham comics, and he had a long box and he had them in bags and boards. So I kind of had a clue as to what I needed to do. There just wasn't like a lot of comic shops immediately available because we were out in the middle of the country kind of thing. And so, yeah, all that. And then I also kind of dug Doctor Who. And I think we started talking about it, and you had been doing a couple of different podcasts, and you had invited me on to your show. And we talked Doctor Who, and that kind of spun off into this show.
Yeah, that was really, it really was. Yeah, because I was doing the music, the EMG radio one for a while. And then, but at the same time, I kind of launched a very, very infrequent
Saturday morning
Dovecast, the whatever show, where I'm just going to have my friends over and like, let's talk about stuff. And most of them were a mess and very obscene. But the last one, and it makes sense that it was the last one because I had Jesse on to talk Doctor Who. And it's called whatever. I think it's episode 8 or something. It was Doctor Who finally, because I'm meaning to do it for a while.
Well, you've been trying to get everybody else to talk Doctor Who, but all they wanted to talk about was Star Trek or something.
Yeah.
That's what they were into.
Yeah.
I remember that.
That's Steve. That'd definitely be Steve.
Oh, okay.
And probably Louie, too, because I'm sure he was around when Steve was watching. Steve was on a big Star Trek kick for, I don't know.
Oh, I know. He watched all the first one and then all the Next Generation. He might have even watched the next one after that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. But Jesse talked Doctor Who. And then I don't know how, I don't recall what the time period, what the gap is, but that was the last episode of that. And then eventually we started Grawlix.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. I don't think it wasn't all that long. It was, maybe 6 months. And then boom, we were starting the new show, I think.
Uh-huh. Yeah, because like EMG Radio was all right, but I think by that point, Steve and Lou had both definitely bailed co-hosting, and I just didn't really have anything. Like, it wasn't.
People weren't participating, and they would be like, "You need to do this, you need to do that, you need to do this, or we should do this or that," but nobody would do anything.
Oh yeah, the we should do is meaning you should do this. That happens. That happens all the time in everything.
Oh, sorry.
Oh no, don't be sorry. You don't. I don't think you do it to me.
I'm sure I do something.
I think I do it to you. Hey, we need to do this, and you're like, okay, whatever. I didn't sign up for this.
yeah, that I know,
but at least it's something I would actually do.
Yeah.
Regardless, you want to do it or not. I'm like, you come do this.
I think I just randomly do things and then I drop them.
Yeah.
Like I'm gonna do a puppet video. I'm gonna do a Grawlix scares real quick. All right, I did that now. I'm done. I'm going to move on. Do something else now.
I'm guilty of that too.
I'm thinking that I thought that Holly was going to be on the Grawlix when I started.
Well, I remember there being talk of it.
Yeah. I was tricked. I was duped.
Oh, yeah.
But
that's how we met and started the Grawlix podcast.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's our origin.
Yeah.
Rebirth.
I'm still surprised that Melanie, you wanted to do it at all.
You talked me into it. I didn't initially.
Did I?
Yes, you did.
Oh, I'm sorry. I'm sorry for this.
Yeah, and I recorded the first couple, and I was like, yeah, it's not that bad. And as long as I don't ever have to listen to it or know anybody who does that's going to talk to me, then it's fine.
That's a good question because it's fun to talk about ourselves.
Well, and we haven't talked about it, and we've been going for 3 years now, and so we haven't talked about it in a while.
Yeah, if that wasn't long enough, if you want to hear us ramble on more about that, you can hear me and Jesse's side of it in episode 1 called Origins, and then you can hear Melanie's side of it on the Grawlix Bites. Was that Nights? It was the first Nights. The Grawlix Bites Nights number 1, Origins Revisited.
Yeah.
Until next time, when we wrap up in a soggy blanket with windows.
It's a soggy blanket's got windows now.
Oh, yeah.
Our inside jokes are compounding on each other.
I know.
I'm gonna write someday. I'm gonna add a page to the website. It's gonna be like a index or what's the term? I guess it'd be an index or a
glossary, maybe.
A glossary. That's
it.
And it's gonna have expressions that we use commonly because I know there's things that we say over and over that a new listener would just be like, "What are they talking about?"
Yep.
Cat dancing and you want to be a spider buggy bonsai and
yep.
You don't know the gits thing. I think I'm going to change it to you don't know gits.
You don't know gits.
You don't know gits. So we can get around the expletive.
Yep.
Stuff like that.
Sorry.
Wow. What was that?
That was me trying to hold in my laugh.
Wow. Thanks, Peter. Good question.
Thanks, Peter.
Yeah.
Is that it?
Yeah.
I think so for this one. Yeah.
Yeah.
We did it. 54.
54.
All right. Here we go. Quiet. Roll up.
Hello, everyone. I'm Andrew Willis, the host of Movies Now and Then. We're a podcast that looks at one new release film in theaters, then we compare and contrast it with a classic or underappreciated film from cinema history. We're not a traditional movie show in that we try to have a more conversational approach to our discussion. We want our listeners to be informed, engaged, and hopefully even entertained. If this sounds like something you might enjoy, give us a listen. You can find us on Facebook, Twitter, or anywhere podcasts are found by searching Movies Now and Then.
All right, come on, we're in.
This is awesome. We're in the Grawlix studios.
Look, it's a plate of Mel's Hot Biscuits. I've heard about those.
Oh my God, check it out. Jesse and Randy's beard oil. I didn't know you can buy that in buckets. Well, that Sam Club's membership is really paying off.
Okay, let's get in their computer and drop this promo.
Okay, let's do it.
We're the Roman Podcast, and in the future, we're sneaking a promo on the Grawlix show.
Okay, seriously.
Seriously. Here we go.
I'm Roman LeBeau.
And I'm Rob Gast.
And we're from the Roman Podcast. We're just two Canadian guys getting together once a week to put our own spin on weird stories and trending news.
That's right. You can get our show every Wednesday night on iTunes, Stitcher, Google Play, the Laughable app, and of course, here on the EMC Podcast Network.
Okay, I think we got it. Put that on their show. Let's get out of here.
Yeah. Hang on. While I'm in their computer, I'm just going to update their comic book pull list for the next few months.
What are you adding?
Captain Canuck, of course.
Nice.
This is Jesse. We just cut up our girlfriend with a Grawlix. Does that sound fine?
This is Melanie. We medicals have a better way than that. When we dislike a friend of ours, we Grawlix him.
This has been Randy. Do they look like psychos? Is that what they look like? They were vampires. Psychos do not explode when sunlight hits them. I don't give a Grawlix how crazy they are. Thank you for listening to the Grawlix Podcast. The Grawlix Podcast is a production of the Electronic Media Collective and Vorpal Arrow Studios. For more Grawlix Podcasts, check out grawlixpodcast.com. Also find us on iTunes, Stitcher, Google Play Music, YouTube, electronicmediacollective.com, facebook.com/GrawlixPodcast, twitter.com/GrawlixPodcast, all the .com/all the Grawlix Podcast.